the ACC basketball tournament. This is TV6 WECT Wilmington.
Good afternoon. You're looking live at the Greensboro Coliseum. It's the 1986 ACC basketball tournament. Our first game of the quarterfinals, Wake Forest and the Duke Blue Devils. It is high noon in Greensboro. Hello, everyone. I'm Paul Cameron, your host for the ACC Sports Center. I guess if there's one thing that's been very consistent for the last 32 years of this tournament, that has to be pressure, the pressure to win. Now, it was different a few years ago. Went on to the NCAAs, but the pressure still remains. And with me today is Lynn Elmore. Lynn played on a team that felt the pressure back in 1974, lost the game. Maryland fell to NC State in one of the greatest games ever played. But Lynn, there still is pressure today.
Well, that particular game was one that I'll always remember, if not cherish. But the one thing that sticks out in my mind is the fact that because only one team was allowed to go to postseason tournament, and that was the winning team of the ACC tournament, every bounce of the ball, every shot was determinative as to your particular postseason success.
Well, it is still important today, and let's hear more on that line of thinking from our cross-court colleagues, Marty Brenneman and Dan Bonner.
Thank you very much, Paul. Dan, 5, maybe 6 clubs are locked to make the NCAA tournament before this ACC tournament ever gets underway. Yet this is still very, very special. Why?
Marty, for coaches and players alike, it's a chance to strut your stuff in front of your peers in an atmosphere where you have the feeling that everybody, the newspapers, the television, the community itself, has its attention focused right in on you. It's something you look forward to all year.
Well put. It could be an exciting 3 days of basketball, and 3 fellas you'll be seeing a lot of are standing by. Mike Patrick, Billy Cunningham, Billy Packer. Gentlemen.
Thank you very much, Marty. Since 5 or 6 teams are going to make the NCAA out of this conference, and they don't have to win this tournament, as a coach, what is your motivation coming in? What do you tell your kids?
Well, I think the motivation comes in 3 parts to this tournament. We have Clemson and Wake Forest. They must win the tournament to get into the NCAAs. Now we have teams like North Carolina, Georgia Tech, and State that are looking to get themselves on a roll, build some momentum. So they want to win. And then you have Duke, Maryland playing exceptional basketball right now, so they want to keep that momentum going through the AC and into the NCAA.
All right, Billy Packer, what about it from a player's standpoint? These kids probably don't remember what it was like when only one team made it, but there's still a lot of pressure on them to play.
I think there's pressure, Mike, but I think the players probably have the best of all worlds. When you're a player, particularly a senior player, the pride factor comes out. You want to be on the championship team. You want to prove to these fans one last time that you're the best in your business. So I think the players probably have the best situation of all. A great opportunity to perform once again in front of an awful lot of fun people.
All right, that's the way we see it from here. Let's go back to Paul Cameron and Len Elmore.
You know, Len, everybody in this house, 16,000 people, have got to be thinking the same thing. My team can win today. Anything can happen in the ACC tournament.
Well, for instance, we'll look at a Wake Forest. They're playing the #1 team in the nation. They really don't have an awful lot to lose here. Plus, they're at home. So those are the factors that go into the makings of upsets.
Home court advantage for the Deacons. We'll see if that pans out. We've got the 1986 ACC basketball tournament coming your way. Pull up your easy chair. Maybe you're taking a few looks from the office today during the coffee breaks. It's Wake and Duke coming up next.
The Duke Blue Devils enter the Atlantic Coast Conference Tournament as the #1 team in the nation and the top team in the toughest conference in college basketball. They capped off a truly great regular season by defeating North Carolina last Sunday 82-74. It's a final go-around for Duke seniors led by All-American Johnny Dawkins. Then there's high-scoring forward Mark Allery, swingman David Henderson, who can effectively play both inside and outside for the Duke Ball Club, and the workhorse of Duke's talented front line, center Jay Billis, all hoping for a trip to Dallas and the coveted Final Four. Wake Forest first-year coach Bob Stack figures it has to get better after going winless in the conference, but can draw satisfaction from the year this man had. Guard Tyrone Bogues, who led the conference in both assists and steals. It's game 1 of the Atlantic Coast Conference basketball tournament. The Wake Forest Deacons versus the Duke Blue Devils. Coming up next from the Greensboro Coliseum.
Raycom Sports and Jefferson Pilot Teleproductions present exclusive live coverage of Atlantic Coast Conference basketball. Today, live from the Greensboro Coliseum in Greensboro, North Carolina, it's the 1986 ACC basketball tournament first round action. Today's game is brought to you by Piedmont Airlines, by NCNB, by the Jefferson Pilot Companies, By Natural Light Beer. By South Carolina National. By Subaru. By Food Lion. By Pepsi. By Gillette. And by Central Fidelity.
What is Jefferson Pilot? I don't know. What is it?
It's a break dance done to the tune of one of our radio stations. It's a welcome check delivered by one of our insurance agents. It's Bill Martin's retirement home, made possible by our financial services. And it's the big game broadcast over one of our TV stations. Jefferson Pilot is many companies, all helping to put a brighter face on the future.
Listen, Doc, I think she's ready.
Okay, I'll be right over.
In Markesan, Wisconsin, when a patient can't get to Dr. Lippert's office, Dr. Lippert brings his office to his patients.
Daddy, where is he?
And the office he relies on, a Subaru wagon. So happily on this night, Dr. Lippert delivered a healthy 72-pound calf.
Test drive a new 1986 Subaru at your local dealer today.
The American work ethic. It's when what you do isn't a job. It's a commitment. It's working by a standard, not by a clock. It's when the toughest standards are your own. The work ethic built a nation, and today it's building an airline. Last year, Piedmont gained passengers 10 times faster than the largest airline in the country, and our service record was ranked #1. The work ethic. It's alive and well at Piedmont Airlines.
There have been all kinds of changes in the American way of life. And we've been changing the American way of banking at NCNB. With new ways to use your money, new ways to invest, new ways to bank all over the country. A lot's changed, but one thing hasn't. We still work to be the best bank in the neighborhood.
Trucks. Wake Forest Duke, the first game in the ACC tournament for 1986, and Dan Bonner, as far as Wake Forest is concerned, decided underdog. What do they got to do?
Well, one thing that Wake Forest has to do, Mike, is they've got to shoot the ball a little better, in fact, than they have all year. In both previous games against the Blue Devils, Wake Forest shot under 40%. They can't afford that. They also got murdered on the boards by Duke in their previous 2 meetings this year, and I think they have to do a good job on the boards. You got to find some way to contain Mark Allery. Usually Tyrone Bogues can handle Johnny Dawkins pretty well, but Wake has nobody to match up with Allery. They'll have to solve that problem.
Okay, what about the Duke Blue Devils?
Duke Blue Devils, Mike, basically are in a situation where they've got to continue doing what they've been doing all year. Tommy Amaker has been hurting. It'll be interesting to see not only if he plays, but how much he plays. And if he doesn't play, what kind of a change that'll make in the Duke attack. If Dawkins has to go to point guard, Henderson moving from forward to guard, you don't know how that might upset a team like Duke that's going as well as they are.
Well, everything will unfold very, very shortly. The opening game of the 1986 Atlantic Coast Conference Basketball Tournament, Wake and Duke. Today's game plan has been brought to you by Mazda Cars and Trucks. We're at Greensboro, and we'll be back with the starting lineups for game number 1 after this word from Natural Light.
My secret pizza recipe has 7 critical steps. You get just 1 wrong, forget the pizza. Here we go. 3 down, 4 to go. Yo, Gino. Yeah, hold on for a second. Well, one thing you can't forget. Natural Light, the beer with a taste for food. Gino? Yeah, the usual. No, better cut it up into 6 pieces. Yeah, I should need 8.
Yeah, all natural, less filling. It's Natural Light from Anheuser-Busch.
A tip? Try Natural Light. On me.
8 long years of development are over. Introducing the new Mercedes-Benz 300E. It moves from 0 to 55 in a stunning 7.5 seconds. It moves performance sedan engineering into a new dimension. And it returns to 0 with computerized ABS anti-lock brakes. The new 300E sedan.
Dinah?
Yes.
Dinah, you don't have to get in shape for this commercial.
Yeah, we're talking about less fat.
Dinah, this commercial's for Holly Farms Prime Chicken with less fat.
This is hard. How do the chickens do it?
They don't exercise. Holly Farms trims away the excess fat.
You think Holly Farms could do that for me?
No, but you can do the end line for me.
America's Cooking with Holly Farms?
Prime chicken with less fat, but the same great taste.
Bet they'd love it at the ACC games. Get your hot Holly Farms chicken here. Hot Holly Farms chicken.
With Dan Bonner, Marty Brenneman back at the Greensboro Coliseum as we are about set to get the 86 Atlantic Coast Conference basketball tournament underway. Those two clubs have at it, 8-seeded Wake Forest and number 1-seeded Duke Blue Devils, who come in with a 13-game winning streak. And, of course, the Wake Forest ball club winless this season in Atlantic Coast Conference competition, 0-14. For the starting lineups, PE announcer Larry Dunlop.
First game of the 1986 Atlantic Coast Conference basketball tournament. For Wake Forest, at guard, a 5'3" junior from Baltimore, Maryland, number 14, Tyrone Bowe. For Duke at guard, a 6'2" senior from Washington, D.C., number 24, Johnny Dawkins. For Wake Forest, at guard, a 6'2" freshman from Memphis, Tennessee, number 20, Rod Watson. For Duke at guard, a 6-foot junior from Falls Church, Virginia, number 4, Tommy Amaker. For Wake Forest at center, a 6'8" junior from Greenville, North Carolina, number 55, Alan Deacons. For Duke at center, 6'8" senior from Rolling Hills, California, number 21, Jay Billups. For Wake Forest at forward, a 6'7" sophomore from Sandy Springs, Maryland, number 44, Charlie Thomas. For Duke at forward, a 6'8" senior from Scottsdale, Arizona, number 32, Mark Allery. For Wake Forest at forward, a 6'7" junior from Williamson, West Virginia, number 42, Mark Klein. For Duke at forward, a 6'5" senior from Drury, North Carolina, number 12, David Henderson. The head coach for Wake Forest University, Bob Stack. The head coach for the Blue Devils of Duke, Mike Krzyzewski.
And there's a trio who will work game number 1. Lenny Wirtz in the middle. On your left, Hank Armstrong. On the right, Big Jim Wright. Wake Forest and the Duke Blue Devils, and of course Duke ranked number 1 in the nation, top seed in the Atlantic Coast Conference Tournament. Dan, you touched on Tommy Amaker. Injuries could be a factor. Amaker has had an Achilles tendon strain that he suffered Wednesday in practice, and of course Bart Klein, back spasms caused him to miss their last game against Stetson. He's questionable, although in the starting lineup.
He and Amaker both are questionable, although in the starting lineup. Marty, we were able to talk to Klein before the game, and he mentioned that his back was still bothering him and it was sore, so it'll be interesting to see how long he can go. Wake Forest has a tough enough task ahead of them. If they have to now try without Klein, it could really be bad news for them.
Well, you could see a lineup in the event that Amaker is hurting, where they move David Henderson in the backcourt with Johnny Dawkins, get the freshman Danny Ferry back on the front line. But that's some question. We'll have to see the well-being of Amaker once we get underway. Well, once again, we'll take a look at the matchups as you look at a couple of the Wake Forest cheerleaders. They're primed and at the ready today. There they are. Klein, Thomas, Dickens up front. Watson and Bogues in the backcourt. Allery, Henderson, Billis, Amaker, and Dawkins. A lineup, basically, that has led the Devils to a 29-2 record, the best in the history of Duke University basketball.
And more importantly than that, Marty, it also seems to be a lineup that's playing its best basketball of the year right now, and that's what you're trying to do as a coach.
It's going to be Jay Billis. It's going to be Charlie Thomas to jump center. Lenny Wirtz will put it in the air. And this 86 Atlantic Coast Conference Tournament is underway. And after a scramble, it's the All-American Dawkins with the ball. And he'll put it in the hands of Tommy Amaker, who'll run the show.
Wake Forest comes right out in a man-to-man defense. They go inside to Allery, and that's a foul on Charlie Thomas. And we mentioned, Marty, that's the place, that's the guy that Wake Forest feels they have the most trouble with. They don't have anybody to match up against Allery.
Absolutely. We talked with that man, Bob Stack, before the game today. He said, we match up pretty well against this Duke basketball team. The one guy we have problems with is that man on the line right now, and he's a real talent. Allery, an 80.8% free throw shooter. And Duke takes a 1-0 lead.
After making that one, Allery now needs 11 points, Marty, to reach the 2,000-point plateau, and that's quite an accomplishment for two guys on the same team. Dawkins, of course, well over that mark.
Duke leads at 2-0, and Wake Forest will handle for the first time. There's Bogues, who will control the basketball and control things for this Wake Forest team as he's done all year.
You notice the Blue Devils aren't conceding anything to Wake Forest. The popular wisdom is you can't pressure Tyrone Bogues, but Duke was after Wake Forest full court right off the bat.
Here's Alan Dickens. Tyrone Bogues, Johnny Dawkins has him. Rod Watson, outstanding high school prolific scorer from his native state of Tennessee. Bogues stops and lets it fly. And the rebound controlled by Allery. So Duke with a 2-0 lead as Bogues misses a jump shot, and the Devils come up in a hurry. Great transition game, and Henderson with a slam.
David Henderson's a young man with a point to prove, Marty. He couldn't believe he was left off the All-ACC first and second team, and so he's going to get after it today, I think.
That's the way they've stacked up in head-to-head competition in Atlantic Coast Conference tournament play. Obviously, decidedly in favor of Duke.
That foul's against David Henderson. Duke trying to apply their very aggressive man-to-man defense. Henderson got caught for a foul on that occasion, but that's what we'll see Duke do the whole day. 1 minute gone. Duke in front 4-0. Bogues signals a play, gives to Klein, and keep a close eye out on him today. They said 70-75%, and they need him. Rod Watson backing in the smaller Amaker, and he buries one. That's a place where Wake Forest has a bit of an advantage in the matchups, Marty. Watson has a height advantage and could conceivably take Amaker inside for shots like that. Duke 4, Wake Forest 2. Tommy Amaker playing with a strained Achilles tendon. Henderson at the top of the key. Now Johnny Dawkins. Allery trying to get open, and does. In and out and off. They battle, and Klein comes out for Wake Forest. So Wake can tie it up. They trail 4-2. Duke doing a nice job getting back on defense. Little bit too long. The alley-oop from Mark Klein to Charlie Thomas, a Wake turnover. Charlie Thomas, of course, missed a lot of the season with an ankle injury. Dawkins coming front court. 16 consecutive losses by Wake Forest in Atlantic Coast Conference play as they call the offensive foul on Jay Billis. He wanted the baseline. They didn't give it to him. He tried to take it anyway. Billis is a big, strong guy. You can see Deacons coming over to help out. Deacons had the position established. Billis just ran him over. Marty, it's an indication of the difficulty that Wake Forest has had this year. If you look at the Deacons, every one of the players not only has a number but his name on the back, except Deacons. Deacons is a walk-on, and so his unit doesn't have his name. Hey, how about that alley-oop from Bogues to Thomas? The basket and the foul against David Henderson. Wake Forest going right to the attack. There isn't a better assist guy around than Tyrone Bogues. That's twice in a row they've tried that alley-oop. That time they were successful. And that's 2 fouls, Dan, on David Henderson. You don't want to lose that fella early on in a ball game, but already with 2 quick ones, and we're just over 2 minutes gone. Thomas shooting. And Wake Forest takes a 5-4 lead on that 3-point play. Here Wake Forest is going to come out with a press. Amaker gets it past from Henderson, tried to take it inside, lost it on the dribble. Deacons lead past Thomas, and Henderson has to watch it. I'll tell you what, Marty, watching Bogues play is so exciting. Tommy Amaker's one of the best guards in the country, but Bogues just forced him into a situation where he lost control of the ball. Well, that young man will force anybody to think. Allery tries to answer at the other end, and a good tip by Jay Billis. Deacons didn't get down very well to block out, Marty. We said they've had a problem rebounding all year, particularly against Duke. Duke showing their power on the board. Wake leading by a point, 7-6. And the Demons have the ball. A big steal by David Henderson. Bogues tries to play catch-up, reach for it, couldn't get him. Missed the layup. Watson lost the ball, and Allery goes down. It's still loose. Bogues unable to save it. Duke ball. Pretty good flurry of activity as Henderson started it all off with a steal, but missed the layup. He missed the layup, Marty, and again, it's time. Look at Bogues now. Bogues is going to get his hand right in there, actually knocked the ball away from Henderson just enough to have Henderson miss the layup, and then we had everybody on the floor but Krzyzewski and Stack. Henderson outside. David Henderson with his second field goal. Duke regains the lead by a point at 8-7. Now you see Bogues walking the ball up the court. Wake Forest does not want to get into a run up and down type game.
Starts line right back to Bogues. He drives the baseline, puts it up. Looked like Allery got a hand on it. Rebound Dickens, shooting Bogues.
Smart play by Dickens, Marty. He didn't try to carry it right back up, which is your tendency when you get the rebound inside.
Now Duke tries to get it up the floor in a hurry as Allery cross-courts to Henderson. He's open again. This time it fails to go. Phillips out leaves Dickens, and Duke maintains possession. 9 Wake, 8 Duke. Jumper by Henderson. Duke by 1. Henderson out of the gate, his 3rd field goal. And again, Bogues slowly coming out of the backcourt. And Amaker now on Tyrone Bogues. Mike Krzyzewski opened the game with Dawkins on him, but now Johnny Dawkins playing the freshman Rod Watson.
I'm sure Mike Krzyzewski plans to rotate people on Bogues all day, trying to wear him down.
There's a pass to Bogues. He got by his man Amaker, but missed a shot on the move, and a tie-up involving Allery and Charlie Thomas with the arrow pointing in Duke's direction. Timeout on the floor. 15:34 remaining in the first half. Duke 10, Wake Forest 9, and we will be back.
The essence of sculling. Never been a hull like this. So trim. Feels like there's nothing between me and the water. The essence of shaving. This is new Microtrack. The incredible new disposable from Gillette. Unlike the Big Shaver, Microtrack has a slim head and shaves your beard closer. The new Microtrack razor by Gillette.
This Honda Civic has been held up as the best value in a 4-door import. But now there's the 86 Colt DL. Same size engine, same front-wheel drive, same room for 5. But they're not the same. The Colt is less expensive by $900 flat. Colt, imported for Dodge and Plymouth, built by Mitsubishi in Japan. Colt, it's all the Japanese you need to know.
When you're between stock trades, we shift your money into a money market account where you'll earn a good rate. Now, on your IRA, did you know the stocks? And we can give you a line of credit up to $50,000. So what do you think about that, Mr. Smith? Mr. Smith?
More muscle for your money from NCNB, working to be the best bank in the neighborhood.
At the moment, a 1-point game, 10-9 Duke. You look at the all-time tournament records. I don't think it's surprising to many people that the team that sits atop that list of Atlantic Coast Conference teams, North Carolina, 45-21. You see Duke is 3rd all-time. Wake Forest in the number 4 spot. Then comes Maryland, Tech, Virginia, and Clemson.
That's not a surprising graphic at all, Marty. I think most ACC fans could have told you, ranked those teams pretty well.
It is Wake Forest basketball. Charlie Thomas, Tyrone Bogues. Wake seeking to regain the lead. It's been back and forth here in the early going. And Wake has been playing very, very well. They spread out the offense. Bogues keeps the dribble alive. Now looks in decline. Being played very tightly by David Henderson. He comes up with the ball. Bogues forced that pass.
Great defense. He forced it because he had to, Marty. He was going to get a 5-second call.
And as Johnny Dawkins inside contact, Dawkins and Allery. It's a second team foul again.
Just had a super. Dawkins was still moving, and that's why the contact.
3 teams. Let's fly that jump shot.
Catch the ball inside. He goes out and hits the 8.
Watson serves it up to Charlie. And there's puts it up and in. To Mark Klein. Jump shot. He's all right. Problems could come about. It was still
great strength. Control the ball clearly. Now that's basket interference.
18 seconds remaining. 1986 Atlantic.
Important for Wake Forest to keep.
Thomas couldn't. Dickens. Ron Charlie Thomas.
Active and
goes back in the
prophetic before the game.
Both teams will make substitutions.
Marty, like Mike Krzyzewski was upset with that last defensive series on the part of his inside people.
Whistle off the ball. Thomas and Billis, and I believe they got Charlie Thomas for some undue contact that will result in his second foul.
Thomas and Billis really battling one another. That foul, gee, that's not much of a foul, but that's the call on Thomas. He actually went and sort of body blocked Johnny Dawkins.
Two newcomers in the Duke lineup, freshman Danny Berry and Billy King on the Duke front line. And Arthur Larkins now in the lineup for Wake Forest.
Second foul on Charlie Thomas. That might be a big factor for Wake Forest.
Mallory will try from the other side. He was way off that time, but Berry got the rebound, put it up, and he's called for traveling.
Look to me, Marty, like and I think this is what Mark Aller, he's now going to referee Jim Rife, and he's telling him, I think Tyrone Bogues may have hit him on the forearm as he went up for that shot.
Wake Forest, another shot at regaining the lead. Duke in front 14-13. Larkins breaks down low. Allery picked him up. Bogues didn't see him. That's Larkins, a freshman from Sarasota, Florida. Has the ball deflected. It looked like it hit referee Jim Wright, went out of bounds, and Wake will keep it.
Duke's defensive pressure has been very good so far today, Marty. They're forcing Wake Forest to start and run their offense very far away from the basket.
Well, that's what this Duke club does its best, and there it is right there. Johnny Dawkins with a steal, and he puts it in his first scoring opportunity of the ball game, and King comes up with the ball. It is saved, but Wake comes up with it. Tyrone Bogues looking, plays behind him to Watson. He knocks it in.
Very, very pretty looking fast break. Nice job by Bogues. Marty, he was actually the person that created that turnover, and then he leads the break down on the other end.
16-15. This Duke club forces an average of over 19.5 turnovers a game. That's best in the Atlantic Coast Conference. They play defense with a capital D. Here goes Wake. Rejected inside, rejected again. Berry slapped it away from Larkins.
King got it first, and then Berry. Wake Forest in a 2-3 zone have been the last couple times down the court.
Dawkins, Tommy Amaker looks inside, back to Dawkins. He lets fly with a jump shot, and that's his second field goal. And the Duke all-time scoring leader might be beginning to heat up a little bit.
Haven't heard very much from Johnny Dawkins thus far.
18-15. Duke's lead goes anywhere from 1 to 3, but Wake hanging right in there in this first 8.5 minutes of play.
Duke stays with the man-to-man. Amaker concentrating on not letting Bogues by, but it didn't work that time.
He beat Tommy Amaker straight up on his drive down the lane with that neat crossover dribble, and it results in a foul. That's Quinn Snyder, freshman out of Mercer Island, Washington, who comes into the Duke lineup for the first time. And the foul call against Amaker. We'll find the result of that out after this timeout with 11:23 remaining in the first half. In Greensboro, Duke up 3 at 18-15.
Being a Jefferson Standard agent does have its drawbacks.
George, tell me about Universal Life.
Fortunately, there's nothing we like more than helping you plan for the future.
Would you recommend stocks or mutual funds?
With insurance and a wide range of financial services.
Hey, George, you got a minute to talk about IRAs?
So when you have a question about your future, ask one of our agents about financial services from Jefferson Standard.
Hey, George.
Our business is your future.
I have a great agent. He got me this job for Piedmont Airlines. I do their commercials, and Piedmont saves me this much to over 100 cities. Special deal just for moi. It's not? Just book 30 days in advance. A few other restrictions, and anybody can do it. Is my agent still here? Is Rick here? Rick? Hey, Rick, where you going, guy? Hey, you little devil.
If your ship is big, Emery's got a rig to take it. From the biggest to the smallest, it's as good as there. Just call us. It's as good as there.
At the conclusion of today's game, join us as we'll be choosing a player from each team as the Holly Farms Players of the Game. 18-15, the Duke Blue Devils lead the Wake Forest Demon Deacons.
Marty, Wake Forest has shown all year they've been blown out of very few ACC games. Couple, Duke blew them out once, but the Deacons have shown all year the ability to hang in with good teams for the entire game. They usually have a tough stretch, though, and then the teams pull away. Get a look at Tyrone Bogues, how much he has meant to the Demon Deacons.
Muggsy ball, appropriately referred to, and this young man has just been absolutely something else in his career here at Wake Forest. There's a jumper by Rod Watson, his third field goal, and it would enhance the Wake chances with a good afternoon from Watson, which Bob Stack is getting at the moment. 18-17. Billy King to Dawkins. He penetrates, puts up the running one-hander and got the roll, and he was fouled.
Wake Forest went back to the man-to-man, and Dawkins just took it right. Move that we've become very used to seeing over the last 4 years. Dawkins with that dribble, that very quick step to the basket. Watson just wasn't in very good position.
Rod Watson picks up his first as Dawkins bids for the three-point play. Wake's had one already themselves today from Charlie Thomas, and that's who garnered the rebound. 2017, Duke leading. Bogues on the move. Let's do it again.
Marty, Bogues has such ability to penetrate. He is forced to contract, and then that outside shot is open. Wake's problem has been that they haven't been hitting it.
Great pass by Danny Ferry. Billis foul as he went up. Great ball movement by Duke. Dawkins kicked it off to Ferry. He had the open jumper, but got it down low.
Duke can really attack you. Dawkins getting the ball up the court very quickly. Danny Ferry, great passer. Mark Klein came over. That's probably not a bad foul, because otherwise that was a dunk.
But if you make that foul, you be sure he doesn't get it up.
That's right. Billis is such a big guy, Marty. You're lucky you don't get carried up there with him. He's really got some strength.
Opened the year on the bench. You might remember he had knee problems before the season started. Had arthroscopic surgery. Danny Ferry was in the lineup. Billis has come back. This is his 11th, a role that he is much more used to and comfortable with than coming off the bench. 22-19 the Blue Devils as we approach the midway point of the first half here in Greensboro. Fine working on Ferry in open court. Can't do anything. Now Bogues, he has been very, very impressive here in the first half. Tries to whip Dawkins. He beat him straight up.
What a move by Muggsy Bogues. Not only did he have to get by Johnny Dawkins, but he had to go through some contortions to get the ball up on the board past Billy King.
22-17, Bogues with 4. Dawkins, he's stripped of the ball. Bogues said, I got nothing but leather. And referee Hank Armstrong said, you got more than that. Bob Stack's not happy.
He's not calling the foul on Tyrone Bogues, Marty. The foul call is against Rod Watson. Dawkins showing turnabout is fair play. He goes right past Bogues. Bogues did get the ball. The call was against Watson as Dawkins split in between Watson and Bogues.
That's 2 on Watson. I guess there's a little one-upmanship involved there, isn't it, Dan? With the competition these two guys have, if one beats the other, that guy's got to do something at the other end. David Henderson.
Now, when Wake's playing in this zone, they got to make sure they find Henderson and Allery.
Ferry fakes the jump shot, cross courts to Henderson, and the zone picks him up. Amaker. Henderson. Out of bounds to Wake Forest. They're down by 1. They've got the ball, and it's been an interesting first half up to this point.
Good defense by Wake Forest. As we said at the top, Marty, Wake Forest can afford to be very loose. They've got nothing to lose, and they're playing like they're very loose out here today.
Well, that's the one thing Bob Stack wanted. In fact, he contemplated having Muggsy Bogues jump center to begin this game, but was fearful of the way that the fans here in the Coliseum would take to it. Him being a first-year coach, he said, by no means was I trying to make light of the Atlantic Coast Conference Tournament. I wanted to do something that would make my fellas understand I wanted to go out and have fun and play loose, and they're doing it right now.
Charlie Thomas just lost the ball on the dribble. Wake with the floor spread very, very wide, trying to give Bogues some room to maneuver, but they can't afford the kind of thing that they just did. That is a turnover when they're not attacking the basket.
Alan Dickens back on the Wake Forest front line, and in the backcourt, left-hander Cal Boyd is in for the first time. Danny Ferry. Henderson going inside, and it's intercepted by Larkins. He gets it to Bogues. Circle the wagons. Good pass, and it is out of bounds to Duke.
I think it's a foul on Larkins as well.
That'll be the first on Arthur Larkins, and he'll go the other end of the floor to shoot him as Mike Krzyzewski checks to be sure it is 1-1.
Marty, I'm not so convinced on this play that Larkins wasn't a little bit surprised to get the ball. You can see he caught the ball, and then it didn't look like he was in position to shoot it. A jumper may have been a good idea right there, but as he tried to get it to Boyd, he charged. Good defensive play.
Eyes up when Tyrone Boggs has the basketball. So Henderson on the free throw line. Almost a 75% shooter. And Duke is a perfect 5 for 5 up to this point from the line, as the Blue Devils take a 2-point lead.
Duke has really shown us some defensive skills. That's beating a 3-on-1 break the way Henderson did right there is really a tremendous defensive play.
24-21. Under 9 minutes remaining in the half, and Johnny Dawkins, he's over there kneeling and waiting to come in.
Now, the Deacons have turned it over the last 2 times down the court, Marty, and they simply can't afford that. They've got to get a shot every opportunity.
Awfully tough to be in a position that Wake Forest found themselves in so many times this season, and that is having to play an almost perfect basketball game against so many opponents in order to win.
Most teams, Marty, go through some stretches in a game where they don't play very well, where they have a tough time. They turn the ball over here and there, and you're right. That means that you're not playing a perfect game, and Wake just puts themselves, their lack of ability, their lack of people, really, have put them in that kind of a situation. So it's not surprising they're 0-14 in the league.
2 fouls on Tommy Amaker. Taking his time, very, very patient. Here's a drive by Larkins, and to the baseline as he shot it up and in.
When you spread the floor, as Wake Forest has done, it gives your quick guys like Larkins matched up against Allery a real advantage.
24-23. Allery shooting, and that time didn't get the roll, but I believe Dawkins was the man who tipped it in.
Dawkins and Billis were both there, Marty, but as players, when you go in after a tip like that, if there's another guy there, you make sure when you come out you have your hand up so the scorer and everybody else knows it's yours.
They credited that basket to Jay Billis. 26-23 Duke. Dan was talking about the turnover situation, already 7 for Wake Forest.
As you mentioned, Marty, Duke really forces the turnovers.
Here's Klein losing the basketball, and finally picked up by Johnny Dawkins. He plays to the breaking Allery. Fine blind pass from Dawkins to Allery.
What a recovery by Johnny Dawkins. He had Boggs to contend with. He was practically falling down, but somehow he managed to keep his feet and make a great play.
From one All-Atlantic Coast Conference first teamer to another. Johnny Dawkins to Mark Allery is 28-23, and Duke has built its biggest lead.
Wake's now turned it over 3 of the last 4 times, Marty.
7 minutes even to go in the half. Larkins needs some help. He finds it in Cal Boyd. They trap him in the corner. It goes to Deacons, and he has it slapped away by Billis. Danny Ferry and Billy King are coming back. And Charlie Thomas will return for Wake Forest. Timeout with Duke leading by 5. We'll be back after this word from Natural Light.
When my big guy wanted something special, I said, sweetheart, I've got just the recipe. Shrimp, scallops, 3 pastas. Enough garlic, honey?
Perfect.
And, of course, our favorite beer, Natural Light. The beer with the taste for food. Another natural, sweetheart.
Yeah.
Waiter?
Yeah, all natural, less filling. It's Natural Light from Anheuser-Busch.
Now, me, darling. What's a smart woman make for dinner? Reservations. Where are we going tomorrow night, honey?
You always hurt the one you love.
People have a love-hate relationship with their cars. They love them, but they don't always treat them right. Yet amazingly, over 90% of all Subarus registered since 1974 are still on the road. Now imagine how much longer they would last if people didn't love them so much.
Test drive a new 1986 Subaru at your local dealer today.
This ACC tournament game is an exclusive of Raycom Sports and Jefferson Pilot Teleproductions.
We remind you, stay tuned at halftime when we will announce one of the finalists in the Pepsi Super Fan Contest. Time remaining, you see it. The Duke advantage of 5 at 28-23 against the Wake Forest Demon Deacons. We'll look at how Both teams have fared in that department, and both teams are faring very well. Wake 11 of 17, still down by 5.
Wake Forest's problem has been, Marty, the turnovers. Wake has turned it over 3 of the last 4 times down the court. Duke has picked up the defensive pressure. We said that Wake Forest had to shoot well. They've done that. We said they had to compete with Duke on the boards. They've done that. But the last couple times down the court, they've turned it over. And 5 points is the largest lead for Duke.
It's Wake ball, and Deacons almost lost that ball at the sideline right at the Duke bench. Here goes Bogues. He stops. He puts it up and in. A double pump job.
The guys on the Wake Forest bench, Marty, are being real greedy. They're asking for a foul as well.
Bogues has 6 points. He's put on a pretty good show so far, and his play, all-around play, helped keep his ball club in the game. Here's Henderson breaking off the dribble, and now Billy King loops it inside to Danny Ferry. Sidearm pass that reaps dividends as Henderson puts it up and in, and he's got 10 points.
Excellent pass by Ferry. Wake looked like they were matched up pretty well in the man-to-man defense, but Duke showed good patience.
Duke 30, Wake Forest 25. Johnson looking to climb, checked by Henderson, and this ball right into a pack of players, and Allery's the one that comes up with it.
That was too tough a pass.
And a turnover by Duke. On the pass by Ferry. Here's a drive by Bogues. He dishes it off. Unable to contain it, Charlie Thomas, and Bogues comes out with it to be fouled by Billy King.
Bogues made a bad pass on that fast break. He didn't give the ball to Thomas when Thomas was in good position, but Bogues recovered for us by coming back inbounds. Now watch this. Bogues is going to make the pass. It's a bad pass. It's down low. Thomas has a tough time handling it, but Bogues doesn't stand around worrying about it. He picks his spot and then is right in after the ball. You can see King knocks him down.
Try to tackle him. D. Calvert, who represents the Alan Deacons. Inbounds pass made to Tyrone Bogues. Wake Forest down by 5. Watson makes his move inside, shovels it off the glass. I'll tell you, we've seen some outstanding moves here in the first half of play.
We sure have. The Demon Deacons have really shown the ability to penetrate inside and get the ball up against taller opposition.
Watson 5 out of 6 from the floor. He joins Henderson of Duke in double figures, each with 10 points. There's Curry with a 17-footer. Another freshman from Bowie, Maryland scores for the first time today. 32-27, Devils lead it with 5:05 remaining in the half.
Wake Forest with the floor spread again, trying to give Watson and Bogues room to operate.
There's pass to Bogues, loose ball. Allery battling Thomas, out of bounds to Wake. Allery can't believe the call, but Wake will have it nevertheless.
Looked like a pretty good call. Allery scrapping pretty hard for the ball as Amaker's coming back in the game. Don't really have a feeling for Amaker, whether his Achilles tendon is bothering him or not, but my impression of Mark Klein, who's on the bench right now, is that his back is bothering him. His shot has not looked good today when he's taken it.
Here's Deacons on the drive, and he's checked and he's fouled by Danny Ferry.
I think Deacons surprised Ferry a little bit, Marty. I don't think Ferry expected Deacons to put the ball on the court and drive by him, but that's exactly what Deacons did.
No decision has been reached as yet on the future for Alan Deacons and Wake Forest basketball, looking toward his senior year, but talking with one of Bob Stack's assistants before the game, Jerry Wainwright, and he makes no bones about the fact they would love to have him back next year, and they feel like, you know, if he dedicates himself and puts a lot of time into strengthening his upper body and basketball, he could be a big, big help to this program next season.
Well, if nothing else, Marty, he'd get his name on the back of his uniform.
Here's Henderson, and he's fouled. Well, he might like that, Dan. I don't believe they've certainly had enough time to stitch, what, 7 letters, 8 letters on the back?
Here you get a chance to see Henderson again. He had a great year for the Duke Blue Devils. He's so dangerous because he can stick it from the outside or he can put it on the deck. That time he went by.
Bad news for Wake Forest. 3rd foul on Charlie Thomas, and that'll put him on the bench, and Mark Klein is back in. 2 shots coming for Henderson. First miss by Duke from the line. Henderson splits the two shots for his 11th point, and that's the biggest lead Duke has enjoyed, 33-27. They're up 6.
It's been a job for the Blue Devils, Marty, but they gradually keep stretching that lead out. It's important for Wake to run a couple of points at them here.
Tyrone Bogues gets it right back from Watson. He drives by Dawkins, flips it back. Watson with a long jump shot, just a tad short. Larkins went up for it, got it. It's loose, and it is out of bounds. Dan, you bring up a point. Well, Duke heavily favored in this game, #1 team in the nation. If you're Mike Krzyzewski, do you want to be tested in this game, or do you want to have a cakewalk into the semifinals?
Well, I think if you're a coach, you'd always like to have a cakewalk regardless of the situation. But obviously, that's not what Duke's having today.
Well, they didn't have it the second time these two clubs met last month right on this floor after Duke blew them out by 29 at Cameron Indoor Stadium, the return engagement, and Duke came away with a 10-point win, and it was a toughie. Bogues. Deacons plays it back to Klein from 19. Got it.
So much for Klein not looking good on his jump shot.
Picture perfect that time. It is 33-29.
I'll tell you what, he went to the bench, Marty, and he got rested, and that was okay.
We can go to the bank with that.
That's right. He's making us look bad.
Okay. Henderson shooting, and he's making his club look good. That's 13 points for David Henderson, who came into this game averaging 14-9. 35-29 Duke. Bogues, bounce speeding, Klein, contact, no whistle, loose ball. Now they'll blow one. And at center court, they get Danny Ferry.
There's a great deal of intensity for both teams out here, Marty. You can hear the skin scraping on the floor as those guys went after it. Now, you're right here. Henderson really does get a piece of Klein.
That's a foul.
Well, they got the second one.
And it'll put Wake Forest on the free throw line. Klein will shoot it. Perry with a foul. He has been charged now with a couple.
It'll be interesting to see if Wake Forest is trying to set up some sort of a press or something. Arthur Larkins is running around whispering in everybody's ear here while Klein is on the free throw line. We'll see what happens if Klein converts.
He does for his 5th point. Best free throw shooter on this Wake Forest team as you look at Mark Gallery. He sits down.
One thing you do want to make sure you do if you're Mike Krzyzewski is get your guys plenty of rest today. 3 games in 3 days is a tough chore.
Klein got them both. And with that, a timeout has been signaled on the floor here in Greensboro. 1 second more than 3 minutes remaining to be played in half number 1. A good one. Duke leading Wake Forest 35-31. Don't go away.
All you got to do is think refreshment. And you can move that can right into your hand. Come on, concentrate.
Nothing.
Think harder.
Think big refreshment. Can't you taste it?
That's not happening. I'll take a break.
Kravitz, could you think down?
To fully understand how Goodyear Eagle high-performance tires alter the driving experience, we urge you to read the Special Operator's Manual before you drive. The information it contains may contribute significantly to the performance of the properly equipped car. Goodyear Eagles. The tires engineered for cars with the proper qualifications.
This game is being brought to you in part by Mercedes-Benz. 35-31 with 3:01 remaining in the first half. Duke is in front. They have been up by as many as 6. As you look at what is referred to as a dynamic trio for the Duke Blue Devils, Johnny Dawkins, Mark Gallery, both first-team All-Atlantic Coast Conference picks. David Henderson having the big half, and that's against ACC competition. they have been, in a word, Dan, impressive against conference opponents.
They sure have. The three of those young men just having a great year. Of course, it's their senior year, and this is something that they've been pointing to. Marty, I remember when these guys came into the league, I had the pleasure of doing a lot of Duke games, and they struggled. And so it's really been great to see their development to the point where they're #1 team in the country.
Yeah, this group lost 17 games in the freshman years of Johnny Dawkins and Jay Billis and Mark Allery and David Henderson, and now 4 years later, the top team in the nation.
Wake Forest did come out with a press after that timeout. Now they're in a 2-3 zone.
Working low, Billis stripped to the ball. It looked like Deacons was a man who got a hand on it, and the defense took care of the rest. Big play by Alan Deacons. Watson, he draws a convention of players, and that should be goaltended.
That sure is.
No whistle.
And the Wake Forest bench is enraged. I thought Danny Ferry got his hand up through the rim and knocked the ball out of there. I agree with you, Marty.
Bob Stack has every reason in the world to be irate. Dawkins baseline, puts up the high arching one-hander, no good. Rebound King, put it up around and rolls off the tip, no. Another tip. They go head-to-head inside, and Larkins comes out with an injury.
Well, now let's see what they do. Oh, he hurt his ankle.
Arthur Larkins just went right down to the floor, and Rod Watson takes an opportunity to ask Hank Armstrong, hey, why in the world did you not call goaltender?
And that's what the Wake Forest. Now let's take a look at it and see if we can see anything from this view. Tough shot there by Watson. You see Ferry gets under. That's clear. He just knocked the ball out of there.
I can't believe with 3 officials on the floor, one of them could not have seen that. Meanwhile, the concern is for the freshman, Arthur Larkins. Still down, still being administered to. Bob Stack was over there. He now heads back to the Wake Forest bench as we get another perspective of what was clearly a goaltender.
There you get a chance to see Larkins going in after the ball, and he and Ferry are both up there at the same time. Ferry clearly gets the ball and knocks it out of the basket.
And did it from underneath.
That's right.
There's a perpetrator right there. You got a quick look at him.
Perpetrator.
The announcers for this game are approved and selected by Raycom Sports, Jefferson Pilot Teleproductions. Any rebroadcast, retransmission, duplication, or reception of this telecast without the express written permission of Raycom Sports, Jefferson Pilot Teleproductions is prohibited. Well, they help Mr. Larkins off as Bob Stack goes to coaching over there at the Wake Forest bench.
That's a nice thing to see for Wake Forest. It looks like Larkins simply turned the ankle rather than sprained it very badly. We'll have to watch and see if he can come back in the game, but he's jumping down, up and down on it over there.
Deke Albert is in for the first time, the 6'5 senior out of Memphis, Tennessee. So hopefully Arthur Larkins will be back. Duke drops back on defense, and boy, I'll tell you, Wake almost 64% here in the first half. Head-to-head, and it's a radical departure from what happened during the regular season. Wake did not shoot well in either of those 2 games.
Now, Wake is in the game, Marty. Of course, you have to be a little bit discouraged if you shoot 64%, you're still down. Wake with the foot. Wake has gone back to a style where they spread out the court to give Bogues a lot of room to maneuver, and then another one where, and as they do right now, they sort of all line up around the free throw lane.
6 seconds on the shot clock. Klein threw up a prayer, hand deflected it, picked off by Billy King, and the Devils go the other way.
Good defense by Duke.
Only 1:15 on the clock as Dawkins went up for the shot, and now we'll go to the free throw line.
I don't think the basket's going to count, Marty. Dawkins made a move out front around Rod Watson, who reached in and got him, and that's 3 fouls on Watson. So Wake is in a little trouble. They've got Thomas on the bench with 3 fouls. Watson has now gone to the bench with 3 fouls, and Larkins is sitting down with a bad ankle.
And the foul problems compound themselves for Coach Bob Stack. Number 3 on Watson. Charlie Thomas also with 3. But Duke helps him out as the free throw by Dawkins misses, and here comes Bogues. He'll take the shot, and he'll hit it.
Wake Forest refuses to quit, Marty. They continue to battle.
35-33. It is a 2-point game. Under a minute remaining in the half here at Greensboro.
It's hard to believe, Marty, that a guy who's 5'3" can dominate a basketball game the way Tyrone Bogues can.
Allery puts it up. Mark Gallery has scored 10 first-half points and is 37-33 Duke. Both taking all the time in the world. The shot clock is now off. They've got 34, 33, 32 seconds to do something about a 4-point deficit. Cal Boyd handles.
I'm sure Wake Forest would be very comfortable, Marty, going in either down 4 or down 2. Wouldn't matter much.
And they'll take that, Wake Forest will, as Boyd started to cut across the key. He was fouled. Let's see if they call it on Quinn Snyder.
Quinn Snyder was trying to match up against him, but Boyd made a nice move cutting across the lane.
Young man has really helped Wake Forest this season. Boyd has played in all 28 games. And they got 3 who can make that claim, Rod Watson and Tyrone Bogues. Of course, the latter 2 have started all 28.
Cal Boyd's really a good shooter, Marty. It looks like he's one of those guys who may have a good future in the league as a shooter.
Two from the line, 37-34. So it's Duke now who will try to get off the final shot of the first half.
Wake Forest in the 2-3 zone.
Snyder with 9 seconds, 8. Allery puts it up, maybe a little bit early, and a foul, and that might be against Duke. It is.
It's against Billy King. We'll have to see who goes to the free throw line. I think maybe it'll be Bogues, but Wake Forest had good position in there on the block out. Good wide open jump shot by Allery. Billy King battling Klein. You can see just at the bottom of your picture there as the ball hit the rim, King gave a little push and Klein went under the basket.
So well-received break for the Wake Forest Demon Deacons with the clock showing only 5 seconds remaining. And Klein towing the free line. Mark 2 for 2 and a total of 6 points.
Klein is an 81% free throw shooter on the year. That's another place, Marty, as Klein hits that free throw where Wake has been hurt this year. Their game has been such a perimeter game that they really don't go to the line very much.
37-35. Klein takes aim and he pulls his glove to within a point. Now Wake applying a little backcourt pressure, trying to make them work for it. Billis will throw it up from way outside, an air ball. Calvin retrieves it underneath the basket. And that is it. The end of the first half. In this, the first quarterfinal game of the Atlantic Coast Conference basketball tournament. An excellent first half, Dan Buck.
It really was. You have to be impressed, Marty, with the way that Wake Forest has played. The reason that it's a one-point game is they've been getting the kind of shots that Bogues has been able to create all year. But today, as opposed to previously, they're knocking them in. They're shooting about 65% from the field, and even though they're down 1, they're right in the game.
Well, the Wake Forest fans are ecstatic, I'm sure. The Duke fans might be a bit concerned. Halftime, and we'll be back after this word from Budweiser.
This Bud's for all that you do. You keep America going. You keep the juices flowing. You are the muscle, the hope and the hustle. You keep the country growing, and you make America work. And this Bud's for you.
Here's to you, Beechwood Age, for that clean, crisp taste that says Budweiser.
This Bud's for you. Place where the work gets done. Work that's the measure of a man. This is the home of America's best. This is Red Man Land. Oh, it starts right here in a Pennsylvania mine and clear across the USA. It's always the place where the job gets tough and the tough make it look like child's play. This is the place where the work gets done. Work that's the measure of a man. This is the home of America's best. This is the home of America's best. This is Red Man Land. Red Man Land.
Ask basketball fans what makes the ACC great, and they'll say competition. Ask grocery shoppers what makes low food prices, they'll say competition too. Grocery prices used to be high in many towns around here. Then Food Line came along with extra low prices and forced other supermarkets to lower some prices and to get a little more competitive. And now, no matter where you shop, you can be sure Food Line lowered your food bill. Excuse me, sir, I think you're in my seat. Maybe not.
Today's game plan is brought to you by Mazda Cars and Trucks. Hello again, everyone. Paul Cameron along with Len Elmore for the ACC Sports Center. We got a one-point game in the first of the tournament. We said early on that Wake had nothing to lose. In fact, there's no tomorrow unless Wake Forest continues to win. And so far, they've really put on an effort in the first half.
Well, they've come out and played with that type of reckless abandon, realizing that the only way to get to the NCAA is to win this tournament. On the other hand, Duke being #1 in the country now, they know what it's like to be the hunted as opposed to the hunter.
A different role altogether. Controversial call in the first half involving a non-call for a goaltend. Wake Forest might very well be up by a point at this time if the referees had whistled this. Once again, in the lane, the shot is taken, and Len?
Well, it seems that the hand did go through the rim, and even if the hand didn't go through the rim, once you touch the net, that's still part of the structure, and I believe that's goaltending as well.
Okay, well, referees, like everyone, we're all human. We make mistakes from time to time. We've got more to come. Halftime of our first game, 37-36, Duke leading Wake Forest. Today's game plan has been brought to you by Mazda Cars and Trucks. More to come from the 1986 ACC Tournament after these words.
With the pilot at the wheel, on a ship that's turning from its mast to its keel, he guides through storm and wave, ensures you while you sail. Sail with the pilot all the way, and get on board the pilot's ship today.
Mercedes-Benz was building sports sedans before there was such a term as sports sedan. Experience pays. The Mercedes-Benz 190 class. The heart of a sports sedan, the soul of a Mercedes-Benz, the 190 class. Something more than a sports sedan, nothing less than a Mercedes-Benz.
The essence of sculling. Never been a hull like this. So trim. Feels like there's nothing between me and the water. The essence of shaving. This is new MicroTrack, the incredible new disposable from Gillette. Unlike the big shaver, MicroTrack has a slim head and shaves your beard closer. The new MicroTrack razor by Gillette.
Hi, I'm Don.
Account number, please.
5, 3, 2, 8.
A number?
78779.
Beginning with area code?
500.
In this push-button world, processing seems to be more important than people.
Confirmation number?
But at NCNB, we stay down to earth while we keep up to date, because people doing a better job for you is still the only way to be the best bank in the neighborhood.
Welcome back to Greensboro. During the last few weeks, you've heard us discuss the Pepsi Superfan Contest. Well, one of the 7 finalists has been selected, and the Superfan is Alan C. Hanrahan of Newport News, Virginia, and his answer is this: Pepsi and ACC basketball, born winners and achievers through devotion to excellence and pride in quality, with whom winning is not an accident, but tradition. Well, tune in Sunday on our championship day to find out the winner of the Pepsi all-expense-paid vacation paid trip for two to the 1987 ACC Championship. And we've got more to come. It's halftime in Greensboro. Game 1 of the quarterfinals. Wake Forest trailing Duke 37-36. More to come after this word from your local stations.
This is Don Kimball. It's that exciting time of year again. Basketball fever grips the Carolinas. And at Don Kimball Chevrolet, we've got even more excitement. 7.9% financing on Chevettes. Economical and sporty. 9.9% financing on most new 86 Chevrolet cars and trucks. Save hundreds now with this special financing. Remember, Don Kimball Chevrolet, 228 South College Road, the good people can save you money.
Just what makes a dependable banking partner dependable? Well, at UCB, it's a combination of things. It's offering the right selection of financial services for all your personal and business banking requirements. It's having a bank history that demonstrates an excellent record of growth and stability.
We're ready.
And it's having professional people to put all of UCB's resources to work for you. United Carolina Bank. It's strength you can grow with. From a banking partner you can depend on. Hello, Mike.
Get 9.9% APR factory financing on most new Ford cars and trucks at Cape Fear Ford Peugeot, the Little Profit dealer, Oleander Drive, Wilmington.
TV6, WECT, Wilmington.
ACC Tournament for 1986, Wake Forest, trailing Duke's Blue Devils 37-36. In the Big East Conference last night, Syracuse defeated Boston College 102-79. Georgetown over Pitt in a squeaker 57-56. St. John's over Seton Hall 87-68. And Villanova advanced, beating Providence 75-63. Also last night, defeating Georgia 79-59. Auburn upset. Mississippi State missed a few free throws, but still won it 65-63 over the War Eagles. Florida lost to LSU 72-66. And Kentucky beat Mississippi. Ole Miss Rebels fall 95-69 to the Cats of the ACC. And today's scoreboard is brought to you by Budweiser. Beechwood Age for that clean, crisp taste. For all you do, this Bud's for you. All right, fans, how many times have you said, I wish I had a copy of a particular ACC game? Well, now you can, because ACC Memories live forever on videotape all through the tournament. We'll tell you about some of the games that are now available on home video cassette, like these ACC championship games. Remember 1985 last year, the great final between Tech and North Carolina. Jackets, of course, won their first league championship. 1984, Lefty won his first championship after 5 previous tries in the finals. And in 1983, the glory year of the Wolfpack, NC State knocked off Sampson and the Cavaliers in a thriller of a final. Each of these championship games uninterrupted on VHS or Beta video cassettes for $24.95. And we will accept Visa and MasterCard orders 24 hours a day. Toll-free number 1-800-554-8000. Once again, 1-800-554-8000. 24 hours a day. That is a toll-free number. And fans, stay tuned throughout this tournament for details on how to order other great ACC games. It is halftime here in Greensboro. We're seeing a whale of a first half. Wake Forest, Demon Deacons, seeded 8 in this tournament, are giving their best to the top seeds, the Duke Blue Devils. Some interesting strategies in the locker room right now. We'll be back to discuss more of that and take a look at the second half as the ACC Championship continues from Greensboro, with Duke leading Wake Forest 37-36. More to come after this.
You changed the way you look. Can you see that? Up close, it's exciting. And I'll tell you something, darling. You look marvelous.
No other taste attracts so much attention.
Absolutely marvelous.
Diet Pepsi, the most refreshingest invention.
And not only do you look marvelous, my little 12-ounce darling, but you taste marvelous.
No other taste attracts so much attention.
You come here often? I'm kidding you. I'm a kid.
Mazda, Honda, Toyota.
Choosing the right import can be a nightmare.
Colt.
Colt? But the 86 Colt is a dream. Easy to buy, and with all the quality and features you expect in Japanese cars. Colt is imported for Dodge and Plymouth, built by Mitsubishi in Japan. Colt, it's all the Japanese you need to know.
Herb, do you feel a draft?
Ace Paint, direct from our state-of-the-art factory. The quality you expect from Ace Hardware at a price that will surprise you. This month, Ace 5-Star Sealing White is Best Buy priced at just $5.97 a gallon. Goes on smooth and easy, spatter-resistant, and leaves a nice flat finish. Ace has all the painting supplies you'll need. Look for our March circular. This Ace Trim Brush and Easy Painter Roller, another Best Buy for only $2.22. So when it's painting time, remember, Ace is the painting place.
Sherwood, the famous actress.
I loved your last picture, Miss Sherwood. You ought to win an award.
No, 76 Gasoline should win the award.
Oh, our gasoline?
For outstanding performance in the category of cleaning carburetors.
Well, it is good.
Good? It's superb, dear boy. It helped my car run smoother, idle better.
Well, I guess it should get an award.
And I accept. On behalf of 76 Gasoline, I'd like to thank everyone.
Fill her up with spirit.
My station attendant and all the little people.
The spirit of 76.
Today's 1986 ACC Tournament game is brought to you by the Jefferson Pilot Companies, by Budweiser, by NCNB, by Piedmont Airlines, by Pepsi, by South Carolina National, by Mazda, by Food Lion, and by Central Fidelity.
At the conclusion of today's game, we'll be choosing a player from each team as the Holly Farms Players of the Game. Holly Farms will contribute $1,000 to the ACC to be distributed among the member institutions under a conference-approved plan. That's a Holly Farms Players of the Game to be announced near the conclusion of our broadcast. With Dan Bonner, Marty Brenneman, we're pleased that you're with us for this fourth quarterfinal game of the Atlantic Coast Conference Tournament. 1-point ball game, Duke by 1. Dan, you hesitate to use the word because so many sports announcers use it, but Wake Forest is playing inspired basketball.
They sure are, Marty. There's no reason why you can't use it in this situation. We said before the game that Wake Forest had shot less than 40% in each of their two previous matchups with Duke. They're 15 of 25, 60% from the floor in the first half. That's one of the reasons they're in the game. In both other previous games with Duke, they got their brains beat out on the board, and at halftime, they're actually out-rebounding the Blue Devils by 15 to 11. Wake Forest has done everything they have to do to stay into the game. It will be interesting to see if they can sustain the kind of effort they've given in the first half in the second.
Mark Klein has been a factor for Wake Forest despite the back problems. Tommy Amaker has pretty much been a non-factor. It appears that he's being bothered by that Achilles tendon.
He may be bothered by the Achilles tendon. Quinn Snyder has been in there a couple times, but of course they're up against Tyrone Bogues, and it's easy to be a non-factor when he's in the game against you.
Well, the numbers are impressive for both of these basketball teams, more so for Wake Forest, as you can see. The great first half shooting, Dan. The figure I find interesting, Wake Forest is out-rebounded Duke.
That's really an amazing statistic considering the front line that Wake Forest is using to match up against Duke, and that Duke led the conference in rebounding margin. The only black note on there for Wake Forest, the 9 turnovers. Had they been a little more careful with the basketball, they would be in a lead. And of those fouls, 3 fouls are against are against Rod Watson. 3 are against Charlie Thomas, and those players have both been big factors for Wake in the first half.
Obviously, Bob Stack will afford to lose either one of them, more so Charlie Thomas and Arthur Larkins. We'll now take a look at the individual scoring. Watson, a fine first half, and Bogues has been doing a little bit of everything.
Bogues has 4 assists in the first half. He's got 8 points. He's penetrated very well. He's been a factor defensively with a couple of steals. Charlie Thomas has 7 points and 3 fouls, so Watson and Thomas are both in foul trouble. Larkins hurt his ankle. He was the leading rebounder for Wake Forest in the first half.
And a big 2 for the Duke Blue Devils. You see him, Henderson and Allery combined have accounted for 23 of Duke's 37 points. Allery, we discussed at the top of the telecast how Wake was concerned about matching up with him. Henderson has been the main man, and David Henderson will now make the inbounds pass to get the second half started.
Wake Forest has done a good job controlling the Duke backcourt. We'll see if they're able to continue that in the second half.
Amaker, Allery, Henderson, Dawkins, Phillips. The same lineup that opened the game for the top-seeded Duke club. Alan Dickens, Charlie Thomas, Tyrone Bogues, Rod Watson, Mark Klein for the men of Bob Stack. They work it low. Dawkins posting up on Bogues but missed the shot. That might be something we'll see more of here in the second half. Bogues lost it, but it was tipped by a Duke player, and the Deacons will keep it.
David Henderson doesn't really believe that he tipped it, but that's the call, and Henderson will have to be content with it, as will Mike Krzyzewski.
Klein looking again, and finally finding the little guy. Atlantic Coast Conference leader in both assists and steals. He had a brilliant year for a Wake team that as a unit had a down season. Here's Thomas, rejected by Billis into the hands of Tommy Amaker.
Boy, Allery showing you that he can do it on both ends of the court. Dawkins walked that time, and I have to believe that because Bogues was right there. He's trying to put a move on Bogues. You talk about guys who are 7'3", intimidating the opposition with their shot blocking ability. Bogues can do it even though he's only 5'3".
Tyrone appears to be just slightly shaken up. Apparently contact made between he and Johnny Dawkins, and they're going to give Bogues just a moment longer to get things together before Klein throws it into him.
And I think Bogues may just be playing possum out there, Marty. He looks like his cylinders have all run down, and suddenly he'll find an extra charge.
Watson plays it right back to Bogues. Amaker has him. There's the looper inside. Did not carry. Billis was there to knock it away. And there Dawkins.
Oh, what a move by Johnny Dawkins, going at full speed to come back and shoot the ball with his left hand. Of course, he's left-handed, but he was moving to his right. That's an impressive shot.
And he hung in the air forever. 39-36. Duke scores first here in the second half and leads by 3. Bogues on the drive, bumped and fouled. Amaker picks up his third. Interesting, the comparison. Would you have thought that?
No, absolutely not. Duke with one of the premier backcourts in the country, and as we said, Wake Forest has been having the better of the backcourt battle in the first half.
Watson would like to find someone for the easy basket. Instead, he has to throw way outside. Klein open and shooting. And Allery position inside on Deacons.
Those are the kind of shots that Wake was making in the first half, Marty. I think they'll have to make them in the second as well.
Dawkins throws up an air ball. Allery unable to save it.
Good defense by Deacons. Dawkins penetrating right down. Deacons held his ground. Dawkins was trying to avoid the charge, and that's why he shot the air ball.
Well, here comes Wake Forest back. Bogues, he had 4 assists, in case you're wondering, in the first half. It really seemed like he had many more than that.
Duke stays in the man-to-man.
Watson. Now Deacons.
It's difficult to play man-to-man when the offense has the floor spread quite as far as Wake Forest does.
Wake still with 12 seconds on that shot clock. Got to go to something in a moment. There's a pass into Thomas. He shoots a fadeaway, and he got it.
Boy, what a tough shot.
Charlie Thomas.
It appears that Wake Forest has decided at halftime that they might want to try to attack inside. Thomas has had one shot blocked in there. He made that one.
And Duke attacks inside at the other end. Mark Allery now with an even dozen. And it's 41-38.
I think that's one thing that we'll see Duke do a lot of in the second half, Marty. Not necessarily Dawkins posting up inside against Bogues, although we did see that. But I think they'll be going inside to Allery and Billis as well.
Bogues keeps that dribble alive, plays to Thomas, shooting. Partially blocked by Billis. Allery, Henderson. The baseline jumper. The tip by Billis, no. Big J goes back up and gets it and sticks it in.
What a display on the boards by Billis. That was actually a bad shot by Henderson. He was 1 on 4, but Billis hustled down the court to get the rebound.
6 points for the senior from Rolling Hills, California. And a 5-point advantage now for the Duke Blue Devils. Here's Bogues driving to the baseline and Klein. Right back to Bogues. The taller Allery has him. He gets a screen. He shoots it. Charlie Thomas out-muscling Billis for the rebound, and a foul.
Foul's going to be against Bogues. He and Amaker collided. Bob Stack's upset about that call, but it could have gone either way. I really do believe it's a good call. Thomas again with the basketball inside as he tries to get it to Bogues. Bogues ran into Amaker. Clearly that was a good call, but what a collision.
Henderson in the face of Deacons, backs off. Bogues picks him up. Here's Dawkins, and he's short. Bogues with a rebound. Duke ball.
It's one of the problems that Wake has had this year, Marty. Bogues, that was a great pass to Charlie Thomas. It was in a good position for him to catch it. He just couldn't handle the ball.
16 minutes to go. A 5-point game. 43 Duke, 38 Wake Forest. Shooting Henderson. And rebounded by Charlie Thomas. He can really get up off the floor. But Watson fires, and he buries it. 12 points for Watson.
Wake Forest needed that basket, Marty.
Wake Forest indeed needed it. They turned it over now 12 times, 3 quickly here in the second half.
And in addition to those 3 turnovers, they've also had 2 blocked shots, so they haven't gotten a lot of opportunity.
They come up with another ball on the alley-oop to Allery. And here's Bogues to Klein. Knocked out. And a foul call.
Again, Tyrone Bogues made a great pass to Klein, but Klein wasn't in good position to handle it. That's a break for Wake Forest that the foul was called.
And that's 3 fouls on David Henderson. And we've got a timeout call as you take a look at that last play. The foul by Henderson gives him 3 in the game, and with timeout, we've got 15:23 remaining. It is Duke 43. It is Wake Forest 40. And we'll be back.
Are you anything like my brother Jack? He figured the only way to get into a serious road car was to go empty his bank account and buy something from the Black Forest. Well, I talked him into driving a Mazda 626. Now he's going around telling everyone he knows about refinements, like the better aerodynamics, the new fuel injection, and the great performance. But the way I figured, I saved old Jack about $7,000. You think I'll ever see any of it?
No way.
That's what I thought.
Somebody have any change?
Pepsi, the choice of a new generation.
Words in basketball have a special meaning. Like traveling doesn't mean you're visiting someone, and charging doesn't have anything to do with credit cards. For grocery shoppers, words have a special meaning too. Like extra low prices. That means Food Line. Because Food Line buys extra large quantities of groceries from manufacturers to get extra savings. And those savings mean extra low prices for you.
The surprising Wake Forest Demon Deacons hanging in, trailing by only 3 with a boatload of time, 15:23 remaining.
And Wake Forest has done it, Marty, playing a style a much quicker style than they did during a lot of the time in the regular season. And as we've said before, the reason they're able to hang in the game is because Bogues has been doing a great job handling the ball. The Deacon backcourt has been dominant so far in the game, and the Deacons are converting the opportunities that Bogues has created for them.
Wake Forest has the ball as they set up to make the pass inbounds. Watson will trigger. And he picks it up. 13th turnover charge against Wake Forest.
The Duke defense continues to rise to the occasion, Marty.
Tommy Amaker. Now Dawkins, kick it out to Henderson, left wide open. And how about that effort by Danny Ferry? It doesn't net his glove anything, but boy, he was up there tipping. Bogues to Klein. And Bogues has it at the sideline. They tipped it way outside. The little guy was there.
Klein has not converted well in the second half.
Well, that's an ill-advised pass by Bogues that time. He journeyed into the land of the Giants, and Dawkins converts at the other end.
And Watson's hurt.
Well, we saw Larkins go down in the final moments of the first half. And now Watson, who has had a big afternoon here in Greensboro against Duke, and he's down.
It may just be a cramp that Watson's got, Marty.
Well, they'll check him out.
Now they're working down on his ankle, though, so maybe he's got an ankle problem, too. Larkins hasn't come back in since he hurt his ankle.
No, he hasn't. Cal Boyd, it looks like he's going to come into the lineup. That left foot injury suffered by Larkins, the same foot that he broke earlier in the year. However, the good news is he just twisted it, and they expect him to be back and see some action here in the second half.
Now, this isn't Larkins there, Marty. The concern right at the moment is with Watson. And it's been said before about Wake Forest, if they didn't have bad luck, they wouldn't have any luck at all. This is a look at what happened. Right there, as Watson tries to stop, he turned the ankle. And that's not really the way you teach defensive play, but Watson was hurt, and he was more concerned with the injury that he suffered. But Dawkins made a nice move getting to the basket. It does appear that he turned that ankle, and we can see him on the bench. He looks like he's in a great deal of pain.
So Cal Boyd has replaced him as Doc goes freshman for freshman. 45-40 Duke. Tyrone Bogues and company working in the offensive court.
This just puts a lot of extra pressure on Tyrone Bogues.
Alan Dickens belly up with Danny Ferry. Needs some help, finds it in Thomas. He'll take Allery one-on-one. No, he won't. He'll throw it back to Bogues. Pass inside. Another turnover. Henderson trying to get right there, and he does. Lenny works. Offensive foul.
So the basket's not going to count by Henderson. That's 4 fouls on Henderson, and that is a break for Wake Forest. The Duke defense, Marty, has created some opportunities for the Blue Devils to open this game up, and every time they get that opportunity, they really haven't converted very well, and they've only got a 5-point lead.
And the turnover has just killed Wake Forest as you see David Henderson sit down, and Billy King has replaced him. Well, the top scorer in this particular game out with early foul trouble, or with foul trouble, and will probably sit for a while, David Henderson. Here's Bogues. He takes it inside. He was fouled about halfway to the basket.
Bogues showing his quickness once again, getting next to Johnny Dawkins and then exploding by with a good spin dribble. Look at Bogues. That's such a quick move. Goes right by Dawkins, took it into Ferry and Allery, but the foul occurred by Johnny Dawkins out front.
Only the first against Dawkins, but 4 team fouls now against Duke. Wake Forest has been whistled for only 1. Wake needs a basket with 13:30 remaining. Cal Boyd plays to Thomas and now to Klein. Quickly off to Bogues.
Forest looks like they're working a weave out there on offense.
Bogues wants a little bit more movement in that offense than he was getting a moment ago. Klein played by King, needs some help, finds it in Dickens from 14 feet away, in and out. There's Klein with a rebound. He throws it up, no good. He goes down, no whistle. Danny Ferry finds help in Tommy Amical.
Good effort by Klein, but it's all for naught. Klein's very slow to get up off the floor.
King to Allery, fouled on the play.
Foul's going to be against Tyrone Bogues. Duke had a 5-on-4. Klein was very slow getting up, and he did not get down the court very quickly. Duke attacking. You see Klein right there in your picture, way, way back. And that creates a 5-on-4 situation, and Duke is able to exploit it.
Man, I agree with you. I think Mark Klein is hurting. He's hanging in there, but I think he's in a bit of pain, and never more evident than in his slow movement up the floor after that flurry at the Wake end. Allery shooting a couple of shots.
And the good news for Wake Forest is here comes Watson back into the basketball game.
He'll replace Cal Boyd, and more good news on the way as Arthur Larkins comes, and he'll replace Mark Klein.
I think Bob Stack noticed the same thing that you did, Marty. Klein very slow to come up the court. It looked to me the last couple of trips like he was very tired anyhow, and that last flurry where he got the offensive rebound sort of wore him out.
Allery shooting, and Allery hitting his 14th point. Earlier, he went over the 2,000-point mark in his collegiate career, the 5th player in Duke University history to do it. 47-40. So the Wake Forest faithful want to see their ball club start to get some more points here. In it goes to Thomas, but into the hands of Mark Allery. And he plays it off to Johnny Dawkins. That's traveling against Danny Ferry.
Wake Forest continues to turn it over, Marty, but the point I made before I think is still valid. That was a chance for Duke to go up by 9, and they turned it over right back. They allow Wake Forest to hang into the game. The defense has created some opportunities that the offense has not been able to convert.
Duke has led most of the way, but they've not been able to get over the hump, so to speak. And talking about the possibility of a 9-point play. As a result of the turnover, it is now only a 5-point lead on the basket by Thomas.
Wake Forest continues to hang in there. They're with Wake. 15 turnovers, and that's way too many if you're trying to beat a team like Duke.
47-42. Dawkins holds it up. Inside Allery. Johnny Dawkins just waited for Mark Allery to get open inside. As soon as he broke on that baseline, there was a breath of fresh air there, a daylight for that pass. He made it, and Duke scored.
Good cut by Allery.
Ball deflected away by Amical.
Bogues has thrown the ball away a couple of times in the second half, Marty, and you have to wonder if maybe his intense play throughout the entire first half and here for about half the second hasn't worn him down.
Here's a jumper by Ferry, no good. And Billy King gets it back. It rolls off. Ferry. Things not looking so well at the moment for Wake Forest. It is 9 points now for Duke, and that results in a Bobstack timeout. 11 minutes, 17 seconds remaining in this first quarterfinal game. Duke on a roll now, leading by 9, and we'll be back after this from Budweiser.
This Bud's for all that you do.
They said this city was through. You said, no way.
Each day the spirit's growing. Your pride is really showing. You make America work, and this Bud's for you.
Here's to you. Beechwood Age for that clean, crisp taste that says Budweiser.
This Bud's for you.
A legend in jeans, Willie and Wrangler. And Wrangler jeans for the whole family are at Rose's. Rose's has 100% cotton Wrangler jeans at everyday low discount prices. So enjoy the good times with Wrangler and Rose's. A legend in jeans, Wrangler. Jeans for the family at Rose's.
Introducing new MicroTrack, the slim, streamlined disposable from Gillette. Unlike the Bic shaver, MicroTrack has a slim head and shaves your beard closer.
The new MicroTrack razor by Gillette.
Dan Bonner, Marty Brenneman back in Greensboro. Duke has expanded its lead to the biggest that Mike Krzyzewski's club has enjoyed all afternoon, 9 points. And Bob Stack, Dan immediately called timeout to try and regroup the forces.
Look of frustration on Bob Stack's face when he got up to call that timeout, Marty. I think he realizes that his team just doesn't have enough firepower to come from very far behind against an outfit like the Duke Blue Devils. And it's been defense. Duke dug down inside at halftime, and they found some extra defensive effort, and they've caused a problem. They've blocked a couple of Deacon shots. There you can see Wake shooting 30% from the field this half. So Wake has turned the ball over. They've had some shot block. Their shots are not going in the basket, and all those things taken together are why they're behind 9.
Well, if they ever needed a basket, they need one right here. And Charlie Thomas will take the shot and hit it.
Thomas has been very aggressive inside the entire basketball game. He's really having a nice game for the Deacons.
Wake's high scorer with 13s, 51-44. Larkins providing end-line to end-line pressure on Billy King, who brought it up. And Bogues fouls Dawkins.
Wake Forest went to a full-court pressure situation, Marty, with Tommy Amaker out of the basketball game. That means somebody else has to handle the ball, and with Bogues matched up against Dawkins, wisely the Blue Devils decided to let King bring it up the court, but Larkins showed some good defensive effort.
That is the third foul on Tyrone Muggsy Bogues.
Wake in the 2-3 zone, and it looks like they're going to trap out of the zone.
Kevin Strickland now in the Duke lineup. First time he's played today. That's Strickland with the ball, number 31, trying to go inside. Charlie Thomas got a hand on it. Larkins. Here comes Bogues. Cross court to Watson. He pulls up and fires.
That's what we saw from the Deacons in the first half, Marty, coming down the court, getting that open jump shot.
And here they come again. Following the timeout, 4 unanswered points to close to within 5.
Wake now back to the man-to-man.
King with a jump hook. And Wake gets a rebound. Ron Watson with King tracking him. He fires. He's off the mark this time, and Dawkins will come front court.
That wasn't a good play by Watson, Marty. He never really had control of the ball. I think he would have been wise to give it up to Tyrone Bogues.
Under 10 minutes remaining with Duke leading 51-46.
Wake has changed defenses again. They're back to that trap.
Here's Dawkins, shovels it up and in. Johnny Dawkins with 14.
Try to trap Duke. Unless you get the ball, you're going to give some awfully talented offensive players some lanes to the basket, and Dawkins showed you what happens when that occurs.
He did not have big scoring games in the 2 regular season meetings with Wake, games of 13 and 14. Bogues can cause no end of problems for Johnny Dawkins, and Dawkins with 14 today.
Thomas tried to force a pass inside, and Perry could not hang on to it. Now Jay Billis, followed closely by Tommy Amaker. Check into the Duke lineup, replacing Mark Allery and Kevin Strickland.
Mike Krzyzewski, Marty, I think, was trying to go with a big lineup so he could play that zone, but the trap by Wake Forest has caused enough problems that he wants Amaker back in the game.
Watson.
Boy, that's a long shot.
Sure was. That might have been a little bit outside, but it was the longest one he's attempted today.
Looks like Wake is going to stay in that 2-3 and trap from it.
Dawkins, quick pass inside. Quick hands by Charlie Thomas.
Good hustle by Thomas.
How about that pass by Bogues to Thomas? He's up 53-48.
What entertainment to watch that guy play. Now, after a made basket, Wake Forest goes back to the man-to-man.
Billy King, and he stepped on the end line. I'll tell you, Duke is doing a whole lot to help Wake get right back in it.
That's right. We talked about how Duke's offense wasn't converting so that they couldn't stretch the game out. But now as Wake makes a little run, they're allowing Wake back in the game.
That last pass from Bogues to Thomas, that's Tyrone Bogues, his 9th assist of the game. And they now look to cut it to 3 with 8:05 remaining. Bogues on the drive. That's Watson. And the defense has him.
Even though Amaker left his feet, he caused Watson to not pull the trigger on that shot.
And Bogues is fouled. Billy King got him as he tried to split King and Dawkins.
I think they got Dawkins. Dawkins is the one with the unhappy expression on his face.
That's going to be the 5th team foul. And they get Dawkins for the foul, his 2nd of the game. Another timeout. 7:51 remaining. It is still, to some degree, up for grabs. Duke leading by 5, 53-48.
You've either got to be a little crazy to take a long trip in a small truck, or you got to have the right truck. Till you go drive one of these new Mazdas, you'll never know how good a small truck can be. This SE5 is really a kick to drive. It's got all kinds of room inside. It's quiet and quick. And even though its price might lead you to believe it's some kind of bare-bones truck, believe it or not, what you see is what you get.
Yeah, and there's plenty of room back here for what you got today, Mr. Garner.
In 1903, the world's most technologically advanced aircraft took off from North Carolina. In 1986, history repeats itself. Piedmont Airlines introduces the Boeing 737-300, the world's most advanced way to fly.
Lodging accommodations for the ACC tournament provided by Holiday Inn Four Seasons Complex located in Greensboro, North Carolina, the largest convention and shopping complex between Atlanta and Washington, D.C. At the conclusion of today's game, join us. We'll be choosing a player from each team as the Holly Farms Players of the Game. That's our score, 53-48 in favor of Duke. And, of course, a whole lot more basketball coming up in this ACC quarterfinal round. The second game this afternoon featuring the Wolfpack of North Carolina State against Virginia. And then tonight, 7 o'clock, Clemson and Georgia Tech, followed at 9 by Maryland and North Carolina. All live action. The Atlantic Coast Conference Tournament. Stay with us.
Everybody thought that this game would be the bad game of the day, Marty, but it's turned out to be anything but that. Wake Forest continues to hammer away at Duke.
Clock 7:40 showing. Tyrone Bogues looking over matters as he moves across the floor. Mark Klein bounce feeding inside. The jumper good. Arthur Larkins with a baseline jumper off the pass from Klein.
Tough shot by Larkins. He had Jay Billis right in his face, but he converted, and the Deacons are back to it in 3.
Amaker puts one up, something he rarely has done today. Billis with a big hoop for Duke.
Larkins had his hand on the ball, but he lost it, Marty, and Billis was right there to convert the mistake.
55-50. Duke looking to extend its winning streak to 14. They've had streaks of 16 and 13 during the regular season en route to a 29-2 record.
Good defense again by Amaker.
Deacons with a ball deflected by Tommy Amaker. He hangs with him.
Once again, the Duke defense helps out by causing that turnover. Let's see if the offense can convert.
Dawkins, he'll fire. And it'll go, oh, wait a minute, Jim Wright with a whistle. He's called a foul, I believe, on Mark Allery.
Allery was clearing bodies out inside as he was fighting for position. Get a look at Bob Stack. He's getting serious. He's taking his coat off here in the second half. Mike Krzyzewski seems very relaxed on the bench.
At the moment, at least, with 6.5 minutes remaining, that's now 16 fouls against Duke. So Wake will be in the penalty from here on out, trailing by 5 points. Rod Watson off the dribble to Klein. He throws it up from 15, in and out. Big miss for Wake.
Klein's inability to hit that jumper in the second half has been a factor for the Deacons.
Due to sunspot activity, in case you might be wondering, you may be experiencing video difficulty. Please stay tuned. We'll have the problem cleared up shortly. Ball deflected off the glass. Out with it comes Charlie Thomas. Tyrone Bogues in a hurry. And Watson fires from outside. He can't get it to go down. All of a sudden, Wake's starting to miss with some regularity.
That's been the Wake Forest problem all year. Those last 2 shots were open jumpers, but Klein missed, and now Watson misfires.
Well, Klein's 0 for 4 here in the second half. Quick pass inside Billis, and there's the ever-present Mr. Bogues. Foul call. That'll be on Amaker, and that'll put Thomas on the free throw line.
Bogues just dug that ball right out of there. Everybody else was on the floor, but Bogues was able to maintain his feet and get going. There you can see Billis is going down, Allery's going down, but Bogues is able to maintain his feet, and he gets the ball down the court very, very quickly. Dawkins trying to stop him, but that's a great pass over to Charlie Thomas, who's now going to go to the line for 2 shots.
And that's 4 fouls on Tommy Amaker. David Henderson back in the Duke lineup. He's playing with 4 also. Thomas scores point number 16.
He has had himself a ball game today.
It's a 3-point game. 55-52. Deacons and Bogues working on Henderson. Now it's Amaker to the front court. 7-3. So Wake in the driver's seat as far as team fouls are concerned. Bogues trying to strip Henderson, and he commits a personal foul, but again alluding to that, something they can afford as a team, but not something that Tyrone Bogues can afford.
All right, Marty, that's his 4th personal foul. They can lose a lot of people, but they can't lose that guy.
And it really takes some of the effectiveness away from the Wake Forest defense now at a point in time which they badly needed.
And the crowd has started to get into the game a little bit, rooting for Wake, but that'll keep a large portion of the crowd quiet. The Duke fans are happy with that. Great pass inside to Aller.
18-point day for the senior from Scottsdale, Arizona. 57-52. The Blue Devils with 4:50 to go. Tyrone Bogues to Watson, and gets it right back.
Getting down to crunch time, Marty. You can notice Bogues handles the ball almost exclusively for Wake Forest.
And he went one way, Klein's pass went the other. And still another Wake turnover.
Good defense by Johnny Dawkins. If Wake Forest is going to want Bogues to handle the ball, then the obvious thing is once he gives it up to try to prevent him from getting it back. Good play by Dawkins.
Well, Duke in control at the moment as Billis gets it right back outside to Henderson. Arthur Larkins will return in a moment for Wake. Johnny Dawkins. And now Henderson backs off against Deacons. Looks like they're going to use that clock up a little bit at this point.
They can afford to be patient and to attack inside.
Allery's turnaround. Big basket for Duke. 20-point day for Allery and a 7-point Blue Devil lead. 59-52 as we go under 4 minutes.
Crucial possession for Wake Forest, Marty. If they're going to stay in the game, they almost have to convert this one.
Well, he saw an opening for a moment, but elected to give it up to Klein, and he responds.
Wake down the stretch. That's Klein's first field goal of the second half.
He's 1 for 5 here in the second 20 minutes of play. He scored 10 on the day. 59-54.
With Bogues having 4 fouls, it's going to be difficult for Wake Forest to exert a lot of pressure defensively. Watson's quick and Bogues is quick, but other than that, Duke probably has the quickness advantage out there, so they're going to be able to pretty much do what they want.
15 seconds showing on the shot clock. 3 minutes and 10 seconds to go in the game. Dawkins gets a little bit closer and hits it on the move. 16 for Dawkins. The Blue Devils have had balanced scoring.
It's very, very effective use of that 45-second clock to use most of the time and then get the ball to Dawkins in a position where he's extremely dangerous.
61-54. Watson lets fly, and he hits another one. 16 for Watson, and immediately Bob Stack says, let's stop the clock, which is exactly what they do as the Wake Forest first-year coach takes a look at that massive scoreboard that shows 2:46 to go, and Duke leading 61-56.
Welcome to the financial supermarket.
Squeeze these software stocks. They're solid. Your future lies in pork bellies.
In this world of confusing financial options, you don't have a chance if you don't have a plan. And that's where a Jefferson Standard agent can help with insurance and other financial services, plus the knowledge to put together a plan that makes sense. Financial services from Jefferson Standard. Our business is your future.
In today's fast-paced world, your bank shouldn't slow you down. And at NCNB, we don't. With 24-hour nationwide banking, with cards that work all over the state, the country, and the world. With the information you need when you need it, we keep working to be the best bank in the neighborhood.
This game is being brought to you in part by Mazda and by Holly Farms. Wake Forest in a somewhat tenuous position on the short end of that score, and not a great deal of time remaining, 2:46. And, of course, Wake has already utilized a couple of timeouts, so they have but 2 remaining, and Mike Krzyzewski with a big 4. Once again, we want to mention that due to sunspot activity, you may be experiencing still some video difficulty. Please stay tuned. We'll have the problem cleared up as quickly as possible.
I want to know how we're going to clear up a problem with sunspots. Is somebody going to go up there and cover them up?
That is somebody else's realm of responsibility. I took sunspot number 384 in college, but I've forgotten all that.
I want to know how we're going to clear up sunspots.
We might send you up there.
No, I'm not going.
61-56, and now Duke is going to really go to work on running some time off that clock.
This is something that you can do, Marty, when you've got players like Allery and Dawkins out on the court, particularly Dawkins, who, as the clock runs down, can really create something for you.
Tommy Amaker handles now as they go back to their offense, and Henderson throws one up from 17. Allery, he's fouled.
What an effort inside by Mark Allery. David Henderson missing the long jump shot badly, but Allery with inside position. Here you get a chance to see Allery. He's going back up on the board, gets fouled by Charlie Thomas. Wake just doesn't have enough people. Thomas has 4 fouls.
Number 4 indeed on Charlie Thomas. Mark Allery is at the free throw line. We see here today in the Coliseum Jerry West from the Lakers, Rick Sun from the Dallas Mavericks. You really have to like this guy right here, Allery, as a potential fine player in the NBA.
He's a big kid. He's got the ability to score inside, and he can also go out and hit that 20-foot jumper.
He has scored 22 points to lead both teams, and Duke leads 63-56.
Big effort by Allery. That sort of disrupted the whole Wake Forest strategy. If they get that rebound, it might be a different game, but Allery's right there for the key play.
Well, the Deacons have to get up and go now with the clock under 2 minutes.
Arthur Larkin's inside calling for the basketball.
Here's Klein needing help.
This good defense.
Watson. Fade away jump shot.
Oh boy.
saying there's a young man you can hang your hat on in the coming years. He's going to be a fine player in this conference. 63-58.
Wake's got to get after it defensively, and as we've said, they've got a couple fouls to give, but they don't have the fouls to give at Tyrone Bogue, so he's got to be careful.
And you foul a guy like David Henderson, and that is...
It's on Larkins.
Larkins with a personal foul. They check now to see, do you shoot him or do you inbounds the ball, and they'll throw it inbounds.
See, it's actually a disadvantage for Wake now, though, Marty,
right?
Because they want Duke to get on the line and shoot the ball, but they've got a couple fouls to go. Well, the next one, I guess.
Next one will put him on the line. There's a foul. Klein fouls Henderson, and he will shoot as the clock stops at 1 minute and 11 seconds.
Now, Henderson used to be the guy among this Duke crew that you'd want to foul, but Henderson, I don't know, is the guy anymore. He shoots 75% from the free throws.
Well, when you get right down to it, the fellas that Duke has on the floor right now, the only one that you'd feel somewhat safe in fouling in that respect would be Jay Billis.
Well, but Billis has had 2 free throws today, and they looked about as perfect as any free throws I've seen anybody shoot in a while, so I don't know that you'd want to get him.
Henderson with a 1-and-1. And you wanted to foul him. Okay, Wake Forest. Watson driving. Watson has it batted away. What a big play for Duke. And Dawkins traveled.
Tyrone Bogues caused that again. Johnny Dawkins with a good defensive play down on this end to take the ball away from Walken. Now Watson's going up for the shot. It was actually Amaker that got his hand on the ball.
And here's another steal, and Henderson does it this time. And he dots the I emphatically.
Across the tee, too. I think that's it.
65-58 with 43 seconds to go. Mark Klein got Amaker in the air, puts it up, no. Allery's there. Well, Duke is going to win its 30th game of the year and move into the semifinals tomorrow. Billis is hammered, and he'll shoot.
That's 5 on Charlie Thomas. It's been the Duke defense, Marty. Duke was not very smooth on offense for a lot of the game. They had a lot of turnovers. You have to attribute some of that to Wake Forest. But the Duke defense was good when it needed to be.
Charlie Thomas leaves, and a lot of folks here in the Coliseum in Greensboro standing and applauding his efforts. He leads with 17 points and 6 rebounds. A good day's work for Charlie Thomas.
Good effort by Wake Forest. The preponderance of talent, though, lies with the Duke Blue Devils, and eventually that weight was just too much for the Deacons to bear.
Well, as you look at Thomas, I don't think anybody can underline the importance of the job that Bob Stack has done with this Wake Forest basketball team. When you can keep a club competitive from a standpoint of their mental outlook on the game, when they go out and time and time again get beat and continue to come and give the effort that they have all year long, he has done a whale of a job. And the folks at Wake Forest did themselves proud by hiring that man.
And you can see where he's got the pieces to build on. Tyrone Bogues, Rod Watson, Charlie Thomas, people like that are all coming back.
Billis' first miss after 3 successes, 66-58. 25 seconds to go. Bogues throws it up, around and off. Billis is there for Duke.
Well, Billis is going to do some dealing here.
Quinn Snyder has come back in for the Blue Devils. The clock winding down. 11 seconds to go. Now 10, and there's a foul as Larkins gets Snyder. So Duke will be in the semifinals tomorrow afternoon against the winner of our second game today, Virginia and North Carolina State, Weldon Williams. We'll make that Kevin Strickland in the lineup now for Duke. Cal Boyd back, and Tyrone Bogues will lead.
Mike Krzyzewski, Bogues is going to get a big hand, and deservedly so. What an effort all year long by Tyrone Bogues.
Wake Forest will end the year at 8-21 as Bogues stands at the Wake Forest bench.
This is a nice touch. Bogues continues to get the standing ovation. Everybody in this place is standing.
One shot.
He will He'll be back, of course, for his senior year next year. I would imagine entertain the fans as he has done for now 3 years in wearing the Wake Forest uniform. Snyder hits a both. Duke has its biggest lead. Boyd passes to Dickens, and Alan Dickens scores. That's it. It was not an easy win by any stretch of the imagination for Mike Krzyzewski as he and Bob Stack shake hands. The Blue Devils make it 14 wins in a row with a 68-60 win, and they were stretched a little bit, Dan.
They sure were stretched. It was not an easy win for the Duke Blue Devils. Their offense didn't really hit on all cylinders. Wake Forest, however, particularly in the first half with their 60% shooting, with their excellent rebounding, was able to hang in. But in the second half, the Duke defense was the difference. They dug down and they caused some turnovers, blocked some shots. They asserted themselves on the backboards and gradually pulled away. Interestingly enough, the final score, 68-60, probably doesn't reflect the closeness of the game. It was a little closer than that.
By no means. And as we mentioned, that means Duke is in the semifinals. And Wake Forest will look toward next season under Bob Stack. And again, congratulations to that man and his coaching staff for a job well done. And Mike Krzyzewski, of course, can look to tomorrow. And I would imagine he's hoping also to look toward Sunday. One of the 5 or 6 teams that we were talking about earlier today that is a lead pipe cinch to make the NCAA tournament.
And I thought Mike Krzyzewski used his bench very effectively today, Marty. We saw a lot of different people coming off that bench, and while they all didn't contribute offensively, Billy King blocked a couple of shots. Quinn Snyder was able to come in and give Tommy Amaker a couple of reps.
Final score of this first quarterfinal round of the ACC tournament. Duke wins at 68-60, and we'll return after this message from Budweiser.
This boy's for all that you do.
Nike Air Jordan, Carolina Blue for men and boys. From Belk. Take a look at Belk today.